Well, sir, tomorrow's the big day.
Yes, it is, Toby. Yes, it is.
Sir, if you're worried about the ceremony, don't be. I'm sure everything is going to go smoothly and...
Oh, it's not that, Toby. It's just, I promised the board that tomorrow I would nominate a successor. I've given it so much thought, and yet I don't know who to choose.
You're stuck between choosing one of your 3 children.
Yes, Toby, that's precisely the dilemma I am facing. In fact, I was rather hoping you might give me some advice on the matter. Do you have an opinion?
Well, sir, I do have my own opinions, but I think ultimately it's what you believe that is important. I do find that when making an important decision, it does help to talk it out with someone. So, what are your opinions?
Well, I have many of them. I suppose we might as well start with Richard. Richard is my firstborn son, and abiding by family tradition, I gave him the middle name Topham. He thinks that this entitles him to become the next Fat Controller. He's arrogant like that. Admittedly, he has proven himself mostly capable through his management of the Skarloey Railway, but he does tend to lose his head when things don't go his way. Then there's Charles. He's never worked for the railway directly, yet he knows it like the back of his hand. He's kind, caring, and competent, and he's had plenty of success as a realtor. I always thought there might be something in him for a job like this, though it would mean taking time away from his family. Still, the fact that he has a family speaks volumes. If his abilities as a father speak even halfway to his abilities as a controller, I think he has great potential for the role. Both Charles and Emily have demonstrated their ability to handle railway crises, something that the Northwestern has seen more than its fair share of. Meanwhile, Emily is extremely intelligent and has a close relationship with many of the engines. She may be the most capable of the 3, and yet I get the feeling she has no interest in taking the job. And then there's the board's nominee of choice, Phil Aardman, one of the assistant managers. He's had plenty of experience, but he's a slimy character. I wouldn't trust him with a farthing of this railway's money. The only problem is the board likes him. I've been assured that if the board doesn't like my nominee, they will inevitably choose him instead. So there you are. It's a balancing act between choosing the most competent and choosing someone who the board will not immediately reject.
I see your dilemma, but I think I may be able to offer you some counsel. You want my advice? Forget about the board. Forget about Aardman. Don't choose someone just because they're a safe bet. Choose someone because they are truly best for the job. And you know your children better than anyone else, and only you can make that decision. If the board can't see the good in whoever you choose, they're blind. If the board rejects your nominee, you can deal with that later. It's not worth compromising your principles to appease them. Today is your day, not theirs. It's your day to choose the path which the Northwestern will follow for an entire generation. Make that choice according to what your heart tells you.
Thank you, Toby.
I think I understand what I must do now. Always a pleasure to be of service, sir. Toby, I want to tell you, I appreciate everything you've done for me. I'm 75 years old, and I've known you for more than 65 of those. You've always been there for me. Thank you. It's my pleasure, sir. And good luck tomorrow. I know whatever the right decision is, you'll come to it. Oh, do have fun today, Stephen, dear.
Of course, my dear. Not too much fun, though.
Are you ready, James? I'm ready for anything, Thomas. I'm more worried about the open-topped carriage. Sir, won't you tell us who's pulling it?
I told you, James. It's a surprise. Besides, you're going to find out soon anyway.
Papa, is it true that Grandpa's giving you his job?
I don't know yet, sweetheart. It might be your Uncle Richard or your Aunt Emily, or none of us.
If you do leave your job, you're not going to leave us, are you?
Of course not, sweetheart. I would never leave you. You are more precious to me than anything in this world.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, Abigail.
How sentimental.
There you are. Good luck today, Toad.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley. Enjoy the show.
Wait, Toad?
Toad, Do you know who's pulling that train?
Well, I assume it's Mr. Douglas, is it not?
That can't be. I saw Douglas lining up at Knapford with the others.
But then, that could only mean...
Well, hello there, everyone.
Mr. Oliver, I don't believe it. Is it really you?
Yes, Toad, it's really me. I'm back, and I'm here to stay.
I told you it would be a surprise. Welcome back, Oliver. Now then, to the coaches, everyone. Let the celebration commence. All right, James, you shall lead the procession to Knapford. I shall follow with Oliver and Toad, and Thomas, you and the guests will bring up the rear.
All right, let's begin then.
Ready when you are, sir. Full steam ahead.
3 cheers for the Fat Controller! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
Yes, thank you. My friends, family, members of the railway board, fellow Sudrians and distinguished guests, I would firstly like to thank you all for coming to Knapford Station today, and for giving me such a warm birthday welcome. When I was a boy, my grandfather took my sister and I on holiday to East Anglia. I thought it would be boring, yet what we found there was anything but boring. We encountered a small tramway, and a little tram and his coach who worked there. Despite my initial reservations, I went for a ride, and then another, and another, and another. We were delighted, Bridget and I. I could speak about my relationship with that tram and his coach, about how that moment may have inspired me to one day put on this hat. But I will speak instead about my grandfather, Sir Topham Hatt the First, the Fat Controller of the time. I think, that day, he saw something in that tram. A spark of something familiar. The tramway was about to close, yet in the engine's eyes, he saw a burning flame of hope. He saw a life left to live, a world of possibility yet to pursue. It was a reflection of the hope that my grandfather had in his own eyes. His hope that in his own way, in his own corner of the world, he could change things for the better. That light of hope has passed down through generations of the Hatt family, each generation growing up alongside that old tram engine. As director of the Northwestern Railway, I have every day tried to live out that moment of recognition my grandfather had in East Anglia, to see the best in others, to see potential, to see hope for a better world, a great world. I don't know if I will one day be judged as a great man, but I hope that I have helped others realize the greatness within them. That has always been my ultimate goal. Not to see trains always run on time, not to see the yard in perfect order, but to open the door to great potential in others. To teach everyone I encountered that they could change the world in some small way, that they were really useful. For it is not what we were made to do which matters. What matters is what we choose to do.
Father, get down! Charles! Look, up there on that rooftop. I see him. He's getting away. Somebody stop him.
I'll stop him.
Come on, Toad.
Feels good to be back in the swing of things.
It does indeed, Mr. Oliver.
Oh, boy, the sludge. Percival?
Try not to move that arm too much, Mr. Hatt. The surgeons were able to remove the bullet from your shoulder, but you're probably still in a lot of pain. The doctor says it's best for you to lie down. Well, can't argue with the doctor's orders. How long was I out? Just a few hours. It's about 2:30. You hit your head on the ground pretty hard. I suppose you're lucky it was the ground and not the bullet. So, what exactly happened? Well, it's quite simple, Charles. You saved my life. Father! Oh, thank God you're all right. Sir, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The patient needs his rest, you see. Doctor's orders. I'm not going to make him run a marathon. I just want a few minutes to speak to my son. Fine. 2 minutes. I'll be outside. Call if you need anything. For what seems to be the first time in decades, I'm at a loss for words. I suppose the fact of the matter is simple, really. You acted in a split second, and if you hadn't, I would not be here today. Every parent knows they take on the responsibility of their child's life. Every parent knows that they must be prepared to throw it all away for their children. But that responsibility was never meant to be reversed. I suppose there is nothing left for me to say, except to say thank you, and that I'm sorry. Sorry that you had to go through this for me. That is never what I wanted for you. Father, it's all right. I only did what I thought was best. You took a bullet that was meant for me, and I owe you a debt that cannot be paid. But no parent ever wants to see their child do that for them. Well, you know me. Family first. I couldn't let anything happen to you. Guess I'm just as stubborn as you are. I suppose it must run in the family. You know, Charles, I never did get to finish that speech before we were so rudely interrupted. I had written such an eloquent ending, and during that ending, I would have nominated my successor to be the Fat Controller. Now, inevitably, some people will theorize that after what happened today, I changed my mind. But I want you to know that that is not the case. You saving me today, it only reaffirmed what I already knew about you. Your courage, your kindness, your selflessness, and your willingness to put, as you say, family first. Opening that speech today, I was very much looking forward to the ending, the part in which I would say that there was no better candidate to take on the job as director of the Northwestern Railway than you. Me? Father? Are you sure? There's no doubt in my mind. You're the best person for the job, and that's all there is to it. I have complete faith that you are exactly what the Northwestern Railway needs. Oh, now who's the speechless one? Father, you have no idea what this means to me. It's what I've wanted my whole life. Thank you. Don't thank me, Charles. Thank yourself. You've grown into the leader that I always knew you would be. And I know you will carry that leadership forward as the Fat Controller.
Hello, brother. You don't get to call yourself that. You've already lost that privilege, time and time again. How can you live with yourself, reverting back to your criminal ways over and over, never once thinking about the family that you leave behind? Everything I've ever done has been for my family. I knew they would never accept me back, but I still love each and every one of them as much as I ever did. All the money I've earned I've sent to them. Anonymously, of course. They wouldn't take it otherwise. But through it all, I have never forgotten my family. Pity the same can't be said for you. How dare you? Where were you in my darkest hours? Where were you when I needed you the most? Off playing in Parliament, being the good boy, the angel. And where have you been? Where were you when your oldest graduated and your youngest took her first steps? Where were you when Polly finally published her first novel? Rotting away in a jail cell. You put yourself there, not me. You claim that this is all for your family, but ask yourself, is this really the kind of man that Polly would want you to be? Perhaps not. But it is the kind of man that I must be. Well, enjoy being that man. You've always thought I was a coward, Gillian, but you're the one who's afraid. Gillian, come back here! Gillian! What? Are you certain? Very certain. It is what is best for the railway.
Hold it right there!
Sir Stephen, we weren't expecting to see you here today.
I'm here in defense of my son. I'm fully aware that you lot had never planned to accept Charles as the nomination, but he is the best candidate for the job in Northwestern Railway history. And if you all can't see that, you're as blind as a—
No, Father. It's all right. They're going to give me the job.
You are?
Yes, indeed we are. You're right, Sir Stephen. Initially, we had not planned on accepting Charles as a nominee. However, someone convinced us to have a change in heart.
I see. And who is this someone?
I am.
Why, Mr. Aardman, I don't understand.
I admit coming around to support his candidacy was not an easy decision, but Mr. Charles Nicholas Hatt, more than anyone in this room, has proven his dedication to what this railway truly is. A family. I looked at him the other day and saw a man willing to give up everything to protect that. And I know that was never the kind of man I was. That's the kind of man we need as a director. One who is not just experienced, but committed to his principles, to making this railway better for everyone. I see now why the mantle has stayed in the Hatt family for so many generations. Because with the Hatts, family always comes first. I was never destined to be the head of that family, but Charles, I think you were. Learning about the Northwestern Railway has become my life, but Charles is the one who truly lives its ideals.
Why, I'm flattered. Thank you. We'll still have to do all the paperwork, but for now we offer only our congratulations to the new director of the Northwestern Railway.
Congratulations, Charles. I couldn't be more proud of you.
Mr. Aardman, thank you.
You're very welcome. And please, call me Phil.
Charles, my son, there are no words left to be said that have not already been said. Except for these. Are you ready?
Yes, Father. I'm ready.
Then it is time.
It fits.
It always did.
Hurrah for the Fat Controller!
Hurrah! Hurrah! Hurrah!
Peregrine.
Kruger? Oh, thank God! You have no idea how good it is to see you.
If only the same could be said for you. The simple fact is that you have failed me yet again. You were supposed to kill the Fat Controller, and all you did was wound his son. No more shall his will apply. Charles is the Fat Controller now, and it is all your fault.
Please, Kruger, just give me one more chance. I know you can get me out of here, and I promise I won't fail you again.
I've given you far too many chances already, and each time you have failed. Your schemes in Starling City failed. Your trading with Milverton failed. Your sabotage of Boko failed. And now this. In short, I have no more need of you.
Is that so? Then what need have I of keeping your secrets?
If you speak of me, I will know. I will see the danger coming. But your family, they will not.
Curses be upon you, Kruger. You know nothing of family.
If I did, I might be a different man. Not so fast, Baron. Captain North, or is it Monroe? I've heard it both ways.
I've done everything you asked me to do. Now I expect you to uphold your end of the bargain.
Everything I ask, you say. And yet it seems that Richard is still not the Fat Controller. That's hardly my doing. We had a deal. The deal was you would make sure Richard became the Fat Controller, but that did not happen. Still, I may yet have need of you. Complete another task for me and you will get your prize.
Forget it, you crook. I'll acquire my prize on my own. If your agenda can survive without me whispering in Richard's ear, mine can certainly survive without you hovering over my shoulder.
Have it your way, Captain, but you can't say I didn't offer.
Fine. I'll find my own way. What's lost will be found, and it will be all mine, not yours.
Indeed.